What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Lumsden Motorsports Garage. I'm Wade Lumsden, and today we are going to be still hammering away at the hobby stock, street stock, whatever engine. Pull her out of the bag. We have harmonic balancer is actually fully installed. I only had to go to 2 different O'Reillys to find a kit that didn't have a messed up either bolt or stud kit. I showed you guys that in the last video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But I did finish the job. Got that. And then, as you can see, motor's rotated over. We still don't have an oil pan, but that's okay. We'll be able to do the oil pan stuff at the end if we have to. Really starting to run out of time. It is, oh man, it's currently the 16th and we race on the 22nd, so I am flat out of time. But as you can see, I got a head sitting here, got another head sitting over there. I went and got those cleaned up. I pressure washed them, and now I am doing the good old scraping. Get yourself a razor blade and scrape away, you know. And good tricks to know, you can either do the typical scrape like this, you know, where it's at an angle, or you can put it flat and scrape away at stuff like that. Some of the more stubborn things, right? Kind of like that. Boom. Right? Couple good little tips when you're cleaning stuff up with a razor blade. But anyways, you can see what we're doing today. Heads. Yeah. Let's get to work. Alrighty, so I made sure that my block surface was nice and clean. Give it one last little wipe down here, and then I also made sure that the mounting surface on the head was clean here. This is nice and clean. No leftover gasket on it. Should be good to go. There's still some duct tape from when this thing was covered on the exhaust ports. I scraped some of it off, but since it's going in my brother's car, he can scrape the rest. Brotherly love there. Anyways, so the other thing that we're going to use here is stock head bolts. Nothing fancy smanchy, no ARP, no nothing like that, right? So I made sure to brake clean them, wipe them down, get them all good, wire brush out the threads, clean that out, brake clean them again. A little bit of a process to get them all cleaned up, but nothing special going on here. When we put them together, we're going to be using some thread sealant, basically like liquid Teflon. They make some better stuff out there, but I mean, with supply shortages, it makes it kind of crazy to try to find stuff. So basically liquid Teflon is what this is, and you're going to want to use that on any bolt that goes into a water jacket at a minimum. For grins and giggles, I'm just going to put a little bit on all of them. So again, not a DIY, right? It's just kind of things to think about while you're getting ready to go together. I have my head gasket here, and we're going to go ahead and get this bad boy set into place. So most head gaskets, kind of like this Velcro, there's writing on it, and you can kind of see that there's 2 different sides here, right? Usually the writing goes up, so this one, how it's blue, this would get set on here like this. But we're not using this head gasket, right? We're using a much thinner head gasket so that we could get the quench that we talked about in the last video under control. And this does not look like it has a specific direction. I read the instructions. It doesn't look like it has a specific direction. I'm going to install it with how it looks like it was stamped to go on. This is kind of bent in the upward direction like that, like it should go there, plus the stamping direction of all the holes, and pushing down for all the sealing surfaces. I think we are going to just set that on right there. So there's 2 dowel pins here on the side of the block, which makes this super nice and super easy. So we should be able to just go whoop onto the dowel pin, and again onto the dowel pin. Boom. Alright, now that you got this set in place, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my block a little bit to where the head is going to be kind of on the upside here, and then I'm going to be able to set my head down right on here and be safe. Alright, so we got our clean head here. Again, we just got to line up our dowels to get it set on. She's a little hefty cast iron cylinder head here. There you go. Set in place. Now we're going to take our bolts and we're going to add a little bit of sealer. We're going to shove them all down in there. You're going to have 3 different size bolts. You're going to have the long ones, the super short ones, and then there's going to be 2 medium sized ones. Those are your end bolts. Alright, so now you got all your bolts in. I went ahead and put sealer on all of them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run them all down to where they're touching. I'm not like tightening them up or anything like that. I'm just running them down until they're touching. And I'm going to do that in the order that you would torque them in as well. But I'll show you that here in a second when I actually get ready to torque it. Okay, so let me pull you off here. This now we're going to torque these. Okay, we're going to torque these in 3 stages, right? The torque specs for the first round that we do is going to be 25. Second round is going to be 45. Third round is going to be 65. Okay, now that's just like stock head bolts. I know if you do ARP or anything like that, could be higher or different. So keep that sort of stuff in mind when you're using different hardware. Use the torque specs for your hardware and all of that happy jazz. But we are going to do this in 3 stages, and we're going to do it in a specific order. We start in the center, and then we work our way out in a spiral. Okay, what this does is it allows the head gasket to get crushed down in the center and then spread out this way, and it lets it compress the head gasket evenly in out versus, you know, doing it here and then you might end up with some weird like wrinkle or bind or something like that. So do it evenly, start in the center and spiral your way out, and that should do it. So first round 25, second round 45, third round is going to be 65. You want to try to move your torque wrench in a nice smooth fashion. You don't want to be all jerky and like, wham, you know, nice smooth fashion. Go until it clicks. All right, now we're gonna move on to 45. All right, 65. All right, technically you would be done there, but I like to go down the line now. I actually start from the center and go to that, go out, and then I go crossed and across, just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Boom, there you have it. That should be, that head is now installed and good to go. So, okay, so a couple things I didn't talk about that you'll probably want to do on your build when you're doing it. Laying a straight edge across your deck with your block, and then using a feeler gauge to make sure that there's no mountains and valleys, you know, it's not warped and crazy and it doesn't need to be decked. This block was already decked, so I don't need to do that, but you would want to do the same thing to your cylinder head. And double check that, make sure that's good, especially when you're using a thinner gasket like we're using here. So something to keep in mind. I'm sure there's a ton of videos out there on how to check your heads, so not something I'm gonna do right now. Alrighty, heads are on our motor, on our engine, so I'm happy with that head weight. We got to clean up the intake manifold and stuff still to be able to put that on, but at least now the heads are on, and we can start moving forward. I'll be able to, I think in the next video, we'll move on to the valve train stuff and get some rocker arms installed with our lifters and our push rods, and start doing that kind of stuff. Still waiting on an oil pan. That actually is not going to be here for at least another 3 days. So it's going to be some pretty last minute stuff, it feels, which kind of stinks, but is what it is. Anyways, we're going to try to get everything that we can done everywhere else, and then just put the pan on when we're all finished, and then we'll send this motor on its merry way. I think our current plan, the car that this is going to go into, is my brother's street stock / hobby stock, which is out in Fallon. I still have my modified to finish up, so I think once the pan is put on this, it'll be getting taken out to Fallon, and my brother will get it stabbed into that car, hopefully in enough time to go race. So at least we made it that far. We'll move on to the next stuff in the next videos. So thanks for watching, guys. Any questions, comments, concerns down below. If there's any other stuff that you do, you know, when you're putting heads on and stuff, make sure you write that down below too. Like I said, this isn't really a DIY step-by-step. This is just me kind of taking you through what I do. I try to show you as much as I can when I'm doing it, but like with checking the deck on the cylinder head and on the block, I didn't show you how to do that stuff because there's a bunch of videos of that stuff out there. So sometimes I'll just throw things out there for you guys to think about when you're putting a motor together. So thanks for watching. Lumsden Motorsports Facebook page. We ain't got a whole lot of time, but we still got a whole lot of stuff to do, so lots more videos coming out. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace, guys.